There you go.
John Hotchkiss here.
Joe Billy here.
Jim Knapp here.
Okay, the ever-popular signature in action. Minutes from the last meeting dated March 25th. I've had a chance to review them. Any
I
questions?
move to accept the meeting minutes as read.
I will second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Good. By the way, when do minutes have to be available? Rough copy.
5 days.
5 days. When does Laura have these ready?
Probably tomorrow.
No,
Tonight.
not tomorrow. They're done tonight. Before she leaves here, they are done. The rough draft is done. Yes?
What happens if the selectmen review the minutes and agree that they're okay, and someone who is one of the participants back here reads them online and finds that there's an error? Is it correctable?
I would certainly entertain some motions to that extent. But after you print them up, they're available online as of, I don't know, 9 o'clock tonight. So they can look at them. All right, veterans credit.
That would be me.
Okay, what's a veterans credit?
Well, veterans credit can mean two things. You can have 100% disability credit, which in Middleton we offer $2,000 off your tax bill. Not the assessment, but the tax bill. Then they also get, if they're 100% disabled through the war, it has to be service related, they also can get their veterans credit on top of that. So it's a total of $2,400 altogether. So I have two of those that I need signed for disability, 100% disability credits. Avatar looked at them, and they both qualified. They were, they both have service-related disabilities. So these are these two.
Right. Just a quick question. And those who have served in the military. Is there a difference between, in the eyes of the government, is there a difference between being a veteran and being a member of the service?
Of course.
There is, okay? To be a veteran, you have to have served during a war period, okay? Don't have to go to the war, you can stay stateside, but you have to have served during the time of World War II or Korean War, okay? You could serve, but not during that time, and in the eyes of the government, you're not a veteran, you're a member of the service, okay? In the eyes of the public, we rightfully say everyone's a veteran, all right? So, both of these are disability.
Yes.
I'll give you one name, Harold, I think it's Hurdle,
Yep.
okay? Eastman Lane, Middleton, looking for 100% disability. And the other one is Francis and Tina Drake, Silver Street, Middleton. All right, so they've been checked by Avatar.
Yep, and then they provide documents through the Veterans Association.
Administration.
Yeah, thank you. Stating that they're 100% disabled due to the service.
All right, is there a motion to accept these two? They've been checked.
Absolutely, I make a motion that we accept both Drake, Francis Drake, and
Harold
Harold
Hurdle.
Hurdle.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Is there a place for us to sign, or?
Yep, should be on the back page, or I'm sorry, be right here. Right.
Back of the front page. You want? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're gonna have to cheat.
Just in
6,
case.
7, 8, 9, 10 selectmen? I don't think so.
10 selectmen.
One off.
Imagine. Those 5, you have to
I'll
print
try
and
to
sign.
Yeah.
print and sign.
Meetings might not run.
It's easier.
Meetings might not run so quick.
Every town have 3 selectmen?
No.
Some have 5.
We do more with less.
Yeah.
Today's date is all right?
Yes, please.
Good, good, I sent you down.
Anybody been around here long enough to know the Newt family? One Judge Newt, Eugene Newt out of Farmington. He was the moderator for years for the Farmington town meetings. And he always referred to the people sitting here not as selectmen, but as select men. They always put an emphasis on one of the different parts of the word. And while our moderator, Jack Savage, talks about a little history, Judge Newt, the moderator, talked about you might have to leave early because his sheep are having lambs. Now, I cannot answer this. Debbie, you might be able to. Who's moderated before Jack Savage?
Lou Vita was for a little while.
Yeah, he was.
Before that, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It was always been Jack.
Was John Malone ever?
No, he's right back.
Ken Gary did it a year, I think, because Jack had something on the agenda, yeah.
All right. Do you have
Poor
more for
Jack.
us?
He does it well, though.
All right, please, fire it well, I'm not worried.
Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 abatements that have been, denied. These are them. And then I do have 1 abatement that was approved, but only for adjustment, a certain part of
Partial
it. Yeah, partial adjustments, which he already did.
Okay. I don't wanna read all of
Yeah,
this.
you're gonna, if you read all of it, you're gonna be here for a little bit, but
Okay.
it's pretty much what Jonathan does is pretty much you have to prove that you are really unfairly assessed. And the whole town went up as a whole as 10.7% is what your assessment pretty much went up. And majority of these are within that range.
Okay. The first one I see is a last name of Day, 44 Shore Drive. Ranch style converted camp assessed at $315,000. Oh, it's waterfront. And the response, just reading parts of it, otherwise we'll be here forever. The assessment is well supported by the sales analysis done as part of the assessment update process, and the repeatedly voiced concerns have been addressed. The taxpayer has a great effort compared to almost every property in the lake, but with a flawed methodology that does not show disproportionately to the general level assessment.
You did a lot of work, Mr.
Okay.
Gideon.
So,
Oh, horrible.
this one, I recommend that the abatement be denied. Next one, last name of Page, 113 Nicola Road. 1.7 acres, improved conventional style home here, assessed at $199,000. And what do I want to do? The property was, this is the response from the assessor. Property was marketed with the following description: great deck overlooking Sunrise Lake. The property abuts the dam, giving you perfect waterfront views without the waterfront price. Okay? Listing shows a picture of the photo gallery, first floor level on the home, including the deck leading to the wall, okay? The townwide average increase, property value is 10.7, and this was 10.3, well within the average. Recommend that the
Next week,
abatement
Joe.
request be denied. There's 4 of these, right? Okay, next one. Fourniers. I believe that would be John Fournier, bottom of Middleton Hill.
Yes, please.
Request for abatement on 2.53 acres. Modular ranch assessed at $145,000. Taxpayer states the home is incorrectly classified and incorrectly measured. Taxpayer was contacted by phone on March 6, 2019 for the assessor to request an interior inspection of the home to verify the construction and classification of the building. The taxpayer, here we go, the taxpayer again refused entry. This is the right of the taxpayer, but does eliminate the fastest, simplest way to resolve any discrepancies. You have a right to say no, you can't come in, but you run the risk of being assessed improperly, but it can't be verified. Anyway, taxpayer has offered no support of the claims made and has not offered any relevant market data as to the sales presented in the offer. Drastically different properties construction. They recommended be denied. Last one. I guess it's Strakia. 134 Lakeshore. Waterfront property, 0.54 acres, $367,000. Taxpayers stated that the assessment has increased by $102,800. And the water frontage has not changed. I don't think the water frontage would change. Okay. Taxpayer says that another nearby property increased $23,000 and gives the opinion that there's no justifiable reason for their property to increase at a greater percentage. Okay. What else can I do? The entire town went through an update in 2018. We know that. Assessed value is 100% of market value. It happens every 5 years. As part of the process, this taxpayer was notified by mail of the preliminary value and made no appointment for an informal hearing to discuss any concerns or questions. I guess the taxpayer says other properties have changed differently, but you have to be compared with other comparable properties, not just every property in town. All right? So his was correctly compared with others. Right? While the taxpayer states there's been no physical change, the market has changed dramatically between the Great Recession in 2008 and the current levels. By the way, as taxpayers, what has helped to increase the value of all properties? One word. School. Okay?
Well, we knew that going in.
Yep, yeah, and sure enough it has. I've heard many people say, oh, school is in conjunction with Wolfboro, great place to live.
Right,
Anyway.
well, it's also, that was a selling point for us when we first
Sure.
started looking last
Yeah.
January. We
Right.
were told not to look in Middleton because it was Farmington schools. Then
Right.
we were corrected. I know Wolfboro, boom.
Right, makes a difference, yep, and here we are. Yes,
It was also one of the pro arguments for building the school in the first place. Everybody wanted to have more value
Yes.
out of their house.
Well, you gotta stop considering now that the school's here and the assessments come out. I never voted for the school. If that's the case, the school never would have been built. So now.
Well, you see how many people show up to vote. A lot of them probably didn't vote for the school.
Well, I still remember like yesterday, actually, because rather 75% of the taxpayers showed up to vote, and 71% of that, 75% voted for the school.
Right.
So that was a resounding yes.
Yeah.
all right, so what is your pleasure? There's 4 requests, and
I make a
we
motion
suggest
that
that
we.
we deny all 4.
I have do you want this one? This one's not denied, this one's
Let's do that one
approved
separately.
with changes, okay.
Okay,
Let's make that one. I'll make a motion that we accept the auditor's findings, the present auditor's findings on these 4. Stacy, 4-year page a day.
all right, comments from anyone? To understand what we're doing? All right, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Now, this one is somewhere between a yes and a no. This is a sort of.
This one was approved, so there was a couple changes they had to do, they had to finish, it states the changes right here. I figured the 1, 2, 3, 4 is the changes he recommends us doing.
You wanna read while I sign? Okay, I just kinda highlighted, so.
Okay, this is for Dolan's on Pinkham Road, and it's .308 acres. Vacant waterfront lot, assessed at $96,600. Taxpayer states the lot is vacant. Unbuildable wetlands and creek assessed in the $30,000 range. Taxpayer also states the property purchased October 2018 for $30,000, and the sale and the historical assessment should be the basis of land value. The taxpayer owns the abutting house lot, which is marketed in conjunction with the lot. The purchase of the home was $201,000 without the subject abutting piece of property disputing. The subject lot was purchased 2 months later without any listing or open market and had been owned by the same party as the home was purchased in August. Taking and considering what the value may have to a buyer not abutting the property, the consistency between properties, the following changes are recommended. 1, add the notes as highlighted on the enclosed property card. 2, add the note wet in the notes section of land line 1. 3, adjust the conditions of the land from 100 to 25. Adjust the waterfront condition from 100 to 50. These changes make the subject property consistent with the abutting lot and other similar properties and results in a revised assessment of $43,800. I recommend an abatement be processed on the difference of $52,800. The taxpayer has stated this portion of assessment and as reason for the abatement application. No further changes are warranted as taxpayers has not provided evidence to show disproportionately to the general level of assessment. So,
Where was it?
this is Pinkham Road, map 5 lot 122. And I make a motion that we accept the assessor's findings.
Second.
Discussion? By the way, who are the assessors? It's not us. Okay, we hire a company to do the assessing. Some towns have their own local assessors. These folks are, in my opinion, highly qualified, and I'm happy to go with that.
Told you it was gonna be forever.
All right, next.
Okay, I got, now I have elderly exemption.
Okay.
I only have one, and it was approved.
Hotchkiss?
It was Hotchkiss. This gentleman definitely, I don't know if we can say his name more, it kind of is, you know, just because of certain things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This gentleman definitely qualified for it. We made sure the numbers were good. But I do definitely need a signature on that one.
All right. What is the town's definition of elderly? Is there a certain age?
67 and above.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And it's not, it's not money off your tax bill, it's money off your assessment, or amount off your assessment.
All right.
So unlike the veterans disability where it's an amount off your tax bill.
All right. So we're looking for a yes on this.
Signature, yeah, so he definitely qualified, so.
All right. Any other discussion? I'm following her lead by
I'm
not
sorry, you
mentioning
just said,
anything.
Kathleen, it was a certain amount or percentage? Sorry, I missed
It's a certain amount off your,
that. Oh, okay. All right.
assessment,
Oh.
not your tax bill.
Off your, oh.
Yeah, so it's different, it definitely is, yeah, so like the veterans disability is off your tax bill.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Guess I'll show you where to sign.
Oh, sorry.
All right, is there a motion to
Right on the front
accept
door.
these findings? Oh, once again, yeah.
Very similar, yeah, they're all the same.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Any question in the back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Joanne?
Just for clarification, the the elderly abatement is also tied to income levels?
Yes.
Too rich.
I don't get a big check.
More?
Alright, so I have a revision of the RSA 7223, with the right-of-ways, the public right-of-ways that whole lawsuit we're in right now. With
Is this the telephone poles?
yes, exactly. Okay, so the revised RSA 7223. They just want a signature, just say that we understand. I just wanted to show you that. I don't know if you guys wanna just kind of read it over.
Okay.
The lawyer that's on it sent it to me, so I just wanted to let you guys know there is a revision of it.
All right, could we, does it have to be signed tonight?
Nope.
Could we,
Yep, I can put that aside.
people know what we're talking about? Someone with a far more reaching brain than I figured out that all the towns in the state, could tax the telephone poles in each town.
Utility poles, not telephones.
Okay, utility poles, I didn't know that.
Is it right away?
So,
Yeah.
because they're on the town's right of way, because the road goes a certain distance from the center and includes the shoulders and so forth. Years ago, the utility companies, well, they kinda had a little lawsuit, and towns, including good old Middleton, lost, and we had to pay $18,000 in refunds because we charged them too much in taxes. But then, something else happened at the same time. Somebody figured out how to get the money back. What was it?
Of course we did.
Maybe they were taxing the lines or something else, but we managed to get a lot of the money back. Okay. More?
Yep, I got two more things, and then I'm done. So I have a current use that I need a signature on. This has been approved. She has 13.9 acres altogether, and she wants to put 11.9 acres into current use as unproductive land. It's the alpaca farm over on near Joe, actually, on Silver Street.
From anybody that knows, what's current use? None of you have land in current use?
You don't have enough.
Oh,
You don't have enough.
What is it? What is, in a nutshell, what is current use?
It's gotta be 10 acres or more,
Well,
doesn't
it's-
it?
no, you don't have that.
10 acres or more.
Yeah.
Okay, and,
Well, ours is forest land, so that's a lower assessment than if you were residential. And there's also an additional amount that can be claimed if you put your land in recreation use. In other words, you can either put it in current use and prohibit other people from coming onto the property unless they have your permission, or you can open it up, which means that for recreational use, people can come onto the property, and you cannot forbid them to do so unless they're doing harm to the land.
And that's an extra 20% on top of the current use amount, whatever that is.
this came about because some brilliant selectman said, well, I see you have a 50 acres farming, but that's really 100 half-acre building lots. We're gonna tax you on the value of 100 building lots. And the poor farmer says, can't do that. And the state came up with something called current use to stop conniving selectmen from doing that. Where did you say this was?
This is Roberta Cluth. She's off of, she's on the corner, you know that corner that goes from New Durham and it turns into
Oh,
Silver
it's
Street.
that alpaca
She's- yep.
farm, not the one
that's
that's
the old
here.
Other
There's
roads.
two alpaca farms, that's what.
I've
Okay.
never seen any animals
Right.
there.
Yeah, so she has an LT dinosaur.
Yeah.
So basically, if someone puts it in current use and all of a sudden they decide to take it out of current use, they have to pay what?
Yes, they have to pay a certain amount back, but it can't just come out of current use. We just found out today, it can't just come out of current use because you want it out of current, it has to be not qualified for current use. It's, yeah, and you can't just take it out. So if you say she wants to take it out and subdivide it, well now it's not a current use. So it's not as just easy of taking it out of current use. It's
Easy
gonna
to
be
put it in
easy.
and take it out.
Mhm.
But then you have to pay back the taxes that you would have paid.
Yes, a certain amount, yes.
Okay,
Yep,
alright.
yeah,
From the time you put it in current use? No, I'm just curious, so.
yep, yep.
And it's not the full amount, it's a percentage?
I believe it's a percentage, I'm not too sure, because the current use is a little newer to me, but I think it's a percentage is what he was saying to me.
Yes, Joanne?
If you have a piece of property that's in current use and there's an adjacent lot that you pick up and you want to, say, add it into the current use, do you have to take everything out of current use? You can-
Nope.
you still- okay.
Nope, you can just do that lot into, oh, how much acreage is in that lot?
The second lot would be under 10 acres.
Then you should be able, as a whole, like, yes, you should be fine, because we have a gentleman
So
that
if you
has
had
5,
10
5,
acres
and
in-
5.
So if you had
Yeah.
10 acres and you said another 9 acres, then that
Yes,
become 19
19
acres.
acres,
current
yeah,
use.
it's what you own.
Even though they're not on the same,
Car-
not the same lot?
Alright,
As a whole, they look at it, yep.
alright, so again, this is Roberta Cluth,
I think, that's what I call it.
338 New Durham Road. That's the one that's on the sharp corner at
Yes.
the beginning of Silver Street, okay? Actually, for those who've been around a while,
Snowmobile club?
the paved section of New Durham Road is called New Durham Road. What's the unpaved section called?
Middleton Road.
No,
Line Hill
New
Road.
Durham Road.
it's the New Durham Turnpike.
Oh.
It's Line Hill Road.
Alright, is there a motion to accept this application for current use?
Yeah, so moved.
Okay, second, alright. Any other discussion? All in favor? Alright. Okay, here we go. Print again.
It's my last one, I swear. This one's easy.
It's been busy.
It's been crazy.
I believe her house used to be the snowmobile club for Middleton at one point in time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Lakeshore.
back in the day.
And those who've been around a while, besides the New Durham Turnpike, we had the Middleton Mall.
Must have missed that one.
One, two.
I must have blinked.
It's on New Durham Road, is it Lassard's?
Yeah.
Lassard's Country Store?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
yeah,
used to
yeah.
be a restaurant right out on 153, right across.
Yeah, the Sunrise Restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes, that was quite the restaurant.
gas station.
Yeah, that was quite a bit.
Okay,
I
so
remember that as a kid.
I got one more thing.
doing the certified computer contract?
Nope, so
Okay.
this one wasn't on, but, this is, Mr. Fournier, again,
Again?
he tried to, he tried to appeal the denial, but they came back and said pretty much that the motion is denied for the following reasons. He could technically take it to, any appeal of decision must be petitioned to the Supreme Court filed within 30 days, blah, blah, blah.
Did he go to the BTLA already?
He did, but then he had this, he could have tried to go again, and that, the second time is just denied.
Who's it from?
John Fournier.
Who's the letter from?
Oh,
State of New Hampshire.
BTLA, I believe.
Your first choice of appealing is us. If that doesn't work, you go to the BTLA in Concord, Bureau of Tax and Land Appeals.
Yep.
If that doesn't work, and if you're feeling lucky, you can go to Superior Court,
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, one of those, okay? Not too often you win. You might be all right with BTLA, but you get further up in the courts. This is basically approving the denial, right? So, here we go.
But
I
it's
guess
just-
you just need a signature?
Yep.
Okay.
Depends on the ink.
His house about being stick built versus trailer,
So what was he trying to get it as, stick built?
no, as a trailer.
Yeah.
But he won't let him in the house, so, he won't let him in the house, so they can't confirm yea or nay.
His land is in both Middleton and Wakefield. There was much controversy about where his house was. Not all the cars, because he kept moving those from one town to the other. The house was labeled to be in Wakefield, which by the way has lower taxes than Middleton. But he thought the house was in Middleton. So you could pay higher taxes. Well, the good Mr. Joe Bailey, representing Middleton and a few people from Wakefield, did a perambulation. He walked the line. And guess what?
Mr. Fournier house does reside in the town of Middleton. Here's his trailer. Off the side, he has a deck like this and some steps. And that line comes right along, so you can stand on the line and sit there and pet the railing on the deck.
Wow.
Right straight across, just like that, right down through, right behind where the Congo Church is. The Congo Church, basically, their back parking lot is in the town of Middleton, where the church is in Wakefield.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go to Dunkin' Donuts.
The drive-throughs in
But where's the
Wakefield.
line?
So, if you go to the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through and look right straight ahead and you look a little bit to your right, you see that big giant pine tree?
Yeah.
That's the corner post right there.
Wow. Interesting.
So you take a left and you go up the road, okay, up Access Road.
Yeah.
And it kinda angles over across Access Road to the other side. And you go beyond where it turns up to Piper Mountain, you go up probably maybe 150 yards. And then at that point, there's another orange corner post, and you take a left turn, and now you're heading up like a billy goat up over the hill.
Wow.
Walked every bit of it.
Okay,
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Thank you. I believe Laura certified.
Do a journey.
Not enough. Certified computer contract.
Same as last year. We just have to update.
Is that April?
Tom John, that's just you, that's good.
Okay. Laura, without getting the exact amount, how much?
It's
No.
15,000 a year.
Okay. And what do we get for 15,000? Everything?
Everything that's on the list, yep. There was a super contract that we could have done. They own all of our equipment, but we didn't go with that one.
Oh my word. This is the agreement?
Mm,
There's going like 30 or 40 things to do.
yeah.
Help desk support for customer and third-party vendors. Remote workstation repair, it goes on and on. All right, so you just need a signature. Does this do all of the town's computers or just,
Yes.
okay,
That's
so it's
all of them.
police, highway, here, upstairs,
Everybody.
okay. All right, anything else? And you do have anything you want to sign, Lou? You got this?
Couple of checks.
Okay, I would like to introduce Mr. Peter LaChapelle, Waste Management, and I believe Chris,
Okay.
Yep.
Waste Management. A short history, these folks appeared before us 2 or 3 weeks ago. Today, request to change our once-a-week pickup from a Tuesday to once-a-week pickup on Friday. At that time, some concerns were voiced about people that are here for a weekend, put their trash out on Sunday when they leave, and it doesn't get picked up till Friday, okay? Now, did you want to speak before we?
So basically, yeah, but back on the 18th, got a phone call from a customer down on Lake Shore. Basically, trash had been picked up. Seems like it had never picked up. House before, house after, but never them. Okay? So, and I actually got a picture that shows 96, garbage right there at the end of the driveway, pretty noticeable, it needs to be picked up, and down in here is a trash can on the side where it was picked up. So what would be the reason that we would skip that customer, and it happens more than not, from what they're telling me.
First impressions?
Huh?
It wasn't out when the truck went by, they put it out after the truck.
Yeah, we have GPS on our truck,
Okay,
so.
so, I'm gonna tell you,
But I missed it.
no, because I'm gonna tell you the reason I bring this up, because I'm the one who put it out that morning.
Oh.
This lady is in a medical condition, she can't get out of the house, okay? So, my wife and I and several other families in town have been helping her out, and the biggest thing is garbage had not been picked up, and she's not a big garbage user, okay? She wants to recycle all that, so this stuff has been piling up inside her entryway,
What road was it?
Lake Shore,
Make sure.
okay? So I went down there, and it was like 8:14 in the morning. I got done at 8:18 putting it out after talking to her for a few minutes. I dragged it out. I was gonna put it on the other side of the mailbox. I said, no, I'm gonna put it on this side so it's noticeable. No cars in the yard to block it. And it was bypassed. The people, a couple houses up, she has a permanent bucket out there all the time. Hers is cleaned up, the lid was open. And then this one here on the side, and this one is right there. Right past it.
Don't know.
I'm just gonna tell you, but it's just coincidental how it worked, because you were here before saying that we wanna change it, the date.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and it's kinda hard for me to sit and endorse a program you guys wanna do to help you out when I see this stuff. So, I took stuff down here to the town dumpster and dumped it, okay? I mean, that's not my job to do,
Sure.
waste management's job.
And
But
again,
at the same token, I don't.
And that was the day after we were here?
This was the day after, this was, the 18th was the pickup day on Tuesday.
Okay.
This photo was taken on the 19th. So I'm just telling
Okay,
you.
yeah.
It's a little bit of a setup, but
Yeah.
I mean, I wanna hear what you're saying. I know what the
As
answer.
a general rule, not in 100% of the cases, but as a general rule, we get many calls that generally go along the lines of, you picked up everybody on the street but me. Not in every case, we do miss stuff occasionally, but more times than not, when that happens and we go look, it's time to give your stuff up. In this case, obviously, you're saying it was out before we got there, so that's.
8:14 in the
Yeah.
morning. I mean, I specifically made sure.
And like I said, I mean, like he's 9 times out of 10 if they late put out.
Yeah.
Do we miss? Yeah, it happens every now and then. And
So, but
unfortunately, it's the day after we were here.
So, and unfortunately as well, I mean, I'm not there every time, but the person is, she says, it happens all the time. It's just, and then, as she's on a corner, I don't know if that makes any difference, not, it shouldn't,
No, it shouldn't.
but, you know, I can't speak to it, so.
And it must be coming up, so it'd be on the right. 'Cause
Well, they would always, it would
Yeah,
always
it'd always
be on the right.
yeah, so.
Anyhow, I just
Yeah.
wanted to, well, so and I was thinking like that, because my wife is here and like
Yeah.
that, and you know, a few other people, it's like,
Yeah.
if I don't take care of it, this is on a Friday, now I'm gonna wait another whole week. That's the problem, that's why,
Well,
I mean,
and
I
that
wanna
shouldn't
help you
occur-
guys as much as I can, but.
And that shouldn't occur, and, you know, with Chris and even his boss, Steve Cates, we'll look at it and see, you know, if this driver, is it missed? Why was it missed? Well, they have dash cams, but those only go on if there's a sudden breakage or
Right, yeah.
something, so it won't record that. But we'll investigate it and we'll find, and we'll put that as a hotspot if I have to put like
Like I said, we'll have to take a look.
I can add in our system an account where it actually generates a ticket specifically, so they have to click it on their, what do you call that, the onboard
The tablet,
computer,
yeah.
the tablet, so they have to,
So
we
I
can avoid that.
I guarantee you tomorrow morning you'll be out there in the morning.
Make sure the driver knows. But when we were here a couple weeks ago, we heard some of the concerns, right? I started thinking about it the next couple of days after, and, you know, looking at it, first off, I checked. Residents from Milton can't use the residential drop-off. We just can't. Matter of fact,
We were trying to make a deal.
yeah,
with-
as a matter of fact, they're even putting more regulations and restrictions on the city of Rochester, because we, as residents, are abusing that as well. I mean, you're my cousin, and you're bringing stuff down, and
Oh,
I'm
the friends
putting
and
you,
family plan?
friends and family.
I thought it all came to Middleton, you're saying that
No.
some people hauling into Rochester.
You got a sticker program now.
Yeah, it has to go somewhere.
Yeah, they're upset, so they go to Rochester.
So they bring it to us now.
So our sticker program's working.
So, I looked at that, obviously, that's out the door, but the sticker program is helping because your tonnage went way down.
Yes.
But then I started thinking about it, and, you know, I look at, you're not the only community that has a seasonal influx, right?
Yes.
You know, and I look at even some communities that are on the beach, York, Rye, Northampton, they have Friday routes. So, if they can do it, I don't see why Middleton can do it. In my opinion, right? They're doing it, and there are some people, some of these homes are $1 million homes right on the beach.
Yeah, but that's probably why they get picked up too.
Yeah.
But-
$1 million homes.
Yeah, but, I mean, but it's still, they could be gone for, you know, that Sunday, leave it up, it's not picked up till that Friday, right? Same argument. Then I also looked, you know, we've been partners for many years, and we appreciate your business, and we wanna continue that. That's why I brought Chris with me, the operation, because he's the one that approached me about this. I said, well, I'll call Laura and see if we can, you know, get on the agenda, and that's why we're here.
Right.
But if you remember, I looked back, it was, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, the town received, I think it was an L-chip grant, but, I don't know, it was a good-sized grant for renovating the old town hall. Waste Management bellied up back then, and we donated $2,000 back then to help that cause. And I don't know, that was, you know, we wanted to be partners with you.
Right.
Now, you know, we need something, so we're coming to you guys. And we're asking just for a simple date change. You know, the service, that's unacceptable, how, why, I don't know, but I will make sure that's done. And if it's not, call me or have someone call me, and I'll go above this guy. No, he'll get it done. This guy is, he's very good at doing his job, and he'll make sure that the drivers, you know, will get it. It shouldn't occur like that.
All right, time for some comments.
Is there an ordinance in town that we should be using trash receptacles with a tight-fitting lid, or?
Yes, there is.
Because we've got people down my way that come for the weekend and they just throw that black bag. Sometimes it's just a tall kitchen bag, 2 or 3 of them, and they're gone, and stuff gets ripped into all the time,
Right,
so.
but perhaps not if it was put in a proper.
Exactly, if you bought a proper barrel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I live on Pine Ridge Road,
Okay.
and we didn't have any problems for quite a while. But one storm, I don't even know why they drove down there, but they did. And they got stuck a little bit and they got out. So now we've been hauling our trash out to the end of the road.
Right,
Well, nobody uses trash cans.
right,
Yeah, I'm retired, but I don't like going out picking up the trash. They're putting the trash out like tonight or tomorrow,
right.
and everything's getting into it. And the association called Chris, I believe, to find out when they can go back down our road and all this, but he never got an answer back.
Okay. You understand the question?
I know where Pine Ridge is, yeah, but nobody's called me, so.
He called you a while ago about it, and you never called back. I know he did.
We wouldn't go down this time of year, we typically don't, it's too icy.
You go down this, what, this time of year?
I think we usually wait for
You
the,
guys have been going down that road for a long time, all winter long.
that's the one,
No, it's not going on the
153?
hill. They're both on 153. There's Pine Ridge and then there's
Deer Run.
Deer Run.
Maybe
Deer Run, you don't go down. That one's right on the hill. Pine Ridge is as if you're going up.
if I'm coming up from the Dunkin' Donuts, I know they're both on the
Okay,
left, I'm
yeah,
just trying to
so
think of
the
which
first
one's
one on the left,
Be the
the
second
first one
one.
is Deer Run and then the next one after that would be Pine Ridge.
I don't know if it was ice, or if it was,
It was a
grading, was
storm,
it-
it was a storm with,
Yes,
it was really slippery.
Okay.
It really was. I don't even know why he drove down there.
right.
A new driver, I don't know. The other driver we used to have, he never,
We have different
You're
trucks
smart
now
enough.
too, so the new trucks we have are a little bit lighter, so they slide around a little
Yeah.
bit more than the older ones that we have, so I'm
but
sure
the
that's
thing of
why.
it is the no wind. I mean,
You-
there's a lot of people on that road, there's a lot of
Correct,
houses.
so I believe this is not a town road, right? This is-
No, it's a private
And
road.
that's one of the sticking points too, right,
Sure.
not a town maintained road, it's not paved, it's tough and to go down it, especially wintertime and snow and mud season now. I mean, obviously, we don't wanna get stuck, cause we gotta turn around and call a tow truck and I don't know what that runs to get us pulled out of there, but.
Chris, this gentleman indicates that bad weather notwithstanding, you have gone down Pine Ridge Road to pick up trash. Is it your intention after mud season to continue going down?
That was my intent, yeah, I kind
Okay.
of talking.
The thing of it is to no wind.
Time with, well,
You
my
gotta tell
concerns right now
people
would be
they'll
the
just,
mud right now, right? So our trucks are heavy, they would trench your road, which would be bad. Typically, we wait till things dry out a little bit, and that would be the same with, I'm sorry,
Deer
so the
Run.
Deer Run, same thing, we,
Any posted road at this point, you're looking probably towards the end of April to have it
it's. but
dried
it's
out
not-
enough to be able
not
to maybe.
posted.
but
I
the
mean,
intent
it's-
would be to
Rain
resume service
permit.
on that street, we've always had it, was just for whatever reason this winter it got so bad that, I don't remember if it was, I don't think it was frost heaves, but, or
It
maybe.
wasn't frosties, it
No,
was,
it was the condition wasn't the road.
it was a
was the-
storm that we had that
Okay,
morning.
Take
okay,
care
that's
of the
right.
road
Yep.
is the email.
And Eau Claire was the same, I think.
All right, thank you, Janet?
In defense of these guys, and that doesn't happen often. They've been getting out there before 7:30 to pick trash up. Only the last couple of weeks, and I've noticed there's been different drivers. The last couple of weeks, they haven't been getting up there till the afternoon. But prior to that, for like a month or two, they've been getting there like before 7:30 in the morning. So,
Yeah, we start collecting at 7 o'clock.
yeah. And they did get caught in the corner of Lincoln Street in Dudley back, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago.
That was the
And
same day.
that wasn't a pretty picture.
Mary?
I'm just wondering if the communication between waste management to calling Laura or calling someone and saying, hey, next week we're going to be able to resume pickup on Pine Ridge Road. Can you post that on the website? Can you blast it on Facebook? Can you let these residents know when you're going to be able to pick up their trash at their curbside again?
Sure.
Does that work for you, sir?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just,
Right, yeah, this whole issue of receptacle, I don't think we're gonna solve it tonight, but I believe somewhere there's an ordinance
There is.
I know
that
there is.
says it has to be a proper receptacle, not just the trash bag.
Has to be covered
If
too.
that's the case, how is that enforced?
Yep, good luck.
Code
Good luck.
enforcement?
Right, yeah, that is, could be a tough nut to enforce, Mary?
Maybe we could piggyback with that post wherever, Facebook, the Middleton webpage, here at the office, somehow encouraging everyone to get receptacles with covers, with bungee cords, so that the animals don't get into it, at least then we would have something for people to go by. When they call and say, my trash has been strewn all over the road, we can say, oh, I'm sorry, did you get your receptacle
I have
yet?
to tell you, and again, not making excuses, but
It's bear
now
season,
if
just
you
so know.
leave and go down New Durham and you take a nice little left-hand turn on Silver Street, the very first house on your left-hand side, they have a box out there
Yeah.
that has a lid on it, and right now it's full and stuff is all over the road.
That's the driveway that I saw. The guy got out of
Right
his
there, right now, I
driveway.
just
So
passed
animals
it.
can get into it.
So, I mean, they have a receptacle,
Yep.
Ah,
but it's not being picked up.
So I guess maybe one suggestion would be is the next tax bill that goes out, put a copy of that ordinance in there saying, you know, you're supposed, just a suggestion.
More education.
Right.
More education, I think,
Please,
is
please,
key.
please help us out.
Along
Do
with
the
your
right
stickers,
thing.
or whatever.
You run America, right? I keep my fingers crossed all the time.
Hold on, please.
Oh, sorry. I'm confused, so,
And
so,
5 of them
Fine.
are changed the date. Also
Okay,
surrounded by
folks,
trash.
folks, okay. The concern about Friday pickup is that when summer residents come
Okay.
here for Friday night, Saturday, go back home Sunday,
yeah,
they typically put out the trash from the weekend Sunday night.
Alright.
It's out
oh wow.
all day
Put it in
Monday,
the
and pick
receptacle
up
like you're supposed to.
Tuesday.
But they don't.
The concern is if it stays out
Maybe
until
we should find
Friday,
You
will
should
it
find them for.
be spread along? And maybe we
I
need to
personally
have-
don't think we should go by the seasonal residents, I think we should go by
Well,
what residents that live
they-
here in town, not
They
seasonal,
point
that's
out
just
a
my
good
opinion.
point that this other towns that have to
Yeah.
do Thursday or Friday. Or
That's just my opinion.
And I would argue too, because Chris, you know, speaks to the drivers a lot, and I apologize for interrupting, but he speaks to the drivers, and they've witnessed some of these seasonal influx that you do get,
Right.
that some of the trash they generate seems to be quite a bit of trash for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
It's his belief and the drivers that some of this material is coming from their home in
Imported.
imported, kind of other type of leakage, because they probably have a pay-as-you-throw down there, or wherever they're living, and you're right.
And how do you stop that? I don't know.
You know,
There's no
They
way.
live here,
Or
you can't
tax.
tell them they can't throw it out.
Yeah, check, put up a toll and check their car as they come in.
Right.
Right,
Beer bottles and fireworks boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on please, Joanne.
I've been following some information on the Middleton Forum website, the Facebook page. And I get some people that are telling me that they don't want to put their trash out because if they put it out, it's going to absolutely be foul, it's going to bother their neighbors. And I've had at least one, and this suggestion was also brought up by, I think, by my husband at one of our meetings. They're from Massachusetts. If they're only here for the weekend, it can't be that
Take it
much.
home with you.
Take it home. And one family says that's what they do,
Yeah.
because they don't even want to leave it out till Tuesday.
They don't
I
want
do
it in
that
their
at my cottage on the other side of the lake.
Well,
I
that's
bring
what
it
we
back
are-
home with me.
Yeah, we have one neighbor that straight up said they wouldn't do it. They're like, I'm not driving home with my trash in the car for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a balance.
So, right.
So if they don't get a barrel, can we fine them for
Well,
trash all
that
over
might be a
the road?
topic for another time, but yeah, I think if we start seeing pickup on Friday and the stuff is left out and making a mess, then, yeah, it'll have to be addressed,
Deputize
Right.
code
Wouldn't it?
enforcement.
right?
I'll
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Give me the bag.
Okay, hold up, please, Jim.
Wouldn't it just take waste management not to pick up bags?
No, it's just.
Empty receptacles. Drive by the bags.
That might be a
Kind
tough
of
one.
hardcore, but
Then the
it's
rest
gonna
of
get
us are
swing
stuck.
across really fast.
Maybe not though.
You might not make selectman of the year with that.
Yeah.
Pull out his phone and be ringing right off the desk.
Good thing I just got reelected.
Can waste management provide receptacles like you get from Rochester?
No, it's a whole different type of program,
Okay.
different type of truck.
Gosh,
type
that
of,
trash barrel isn't
I mean, the
that
typical,
expensive, really.
they're not. I mean,
Come on,
we look
people.
for like, I don't know, 35, 40 gallon
Yeah.
container you can buy at a Walmart,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Home
definitely.
Depot, something like that. Has the lid. Usually they're pretty secure.
Yes, I
I
got
heard
one.
that bungee could. I guess you could, but usually those you can snap them down and they're secure. You get some strong winds, yeah, it might lift it, but
A lot of people will do a bungee cord not to keep the lid secure, but just to keep the lid attached to the barrel. It's usually about yay long, so that way if the lid is a light right in the wind,
Right.
your lid's go
And-
flying.
Peter, explain why when a Middleton resident happens to drive through Rochester, we'll say Friday morning, every single house has a nice green or
No,
yellow
that's what I'm saying.
canister. It is because
It's an automated type of a program.
Right.
It's a different, so it's a whole different truck. We call it, well, it's a automated side load type, so it has an arm,
Yep.
picks it up on the side and dumps it overhead. We have different versions of it, but primarily the arm will
Yep.
pick it up and dump it. And again, we have communities that are looking to go to that, especially for recycling, and in the state of the recycling world right now, I'm telling them, I wouldn't do it, because your contamination charge is gonna go through the roof with the state of recycling right now. Because once it's in that bucket, we can't see it. Yeah, we have a camera on top, but once it's dumped, and we might miss some stuff, but once it's dumped, it's in there. There's no way my driver can climb up and get down in there and get it out. But yeah, that's why, it's an automated program, different type of program altogether.
But what's different about Rochester and Middleton? What does Rochester have? You folks agreed to have
A landfill.
a landfill,
A landfill in the back.
okay? Yeah, we might get free buckets up here if we agreed to have a landfill up here, but I'm
I'm
not
telling you,
ready for
Waste
that.
Management would love to talk to you if you
Yeah.
want, it wouldn't be me.
Right, that's, I believe they're all free for this.
No,
each
we
resident.
get, they didn't pay for those carts.
Right.
Correct, but they do pay for a collection cost. My
Sure.
trucks that run around
Right.
town,
Yeah.
and I'm a city councilor in Rochester too, so I know, I see, we pay about over $600,000 a year just to go around collect, and we get free disposal.
Yeah,
When Waste Management does close our landfill, then disposal kicks in,
right.
and we lose the tax and the host community fee. City of, well, I'll be off the council by
Let's
then.
see.
How long does the landfill expect to last?
The landfill right now, we're permitted and with capacity until 2024, but we just got approved for another expansion, which will add, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think about 20 more years on top of that.
Oh, wow.
I won't have to worry again.
But eventually, that will be capped, and it will be. So at that point, I'll be long retired and gone from there, but it'll, and think about it, right? You know, if we came in here and say, hey, we found 100 acres here in Middleton, we wanna put a landfill in. This town will be an uproar, not in my backyard, they don't want it.
Right.
Rightfully so, I get it, but, okay, then you go to incineration, right? But what's the end use of incineration?
Pollution.
Yeah, but you get ash, right?
Yeah.
Which can be, that's a whole nother argument, can be more toxic than normal trash, because you're burning all the metals.
Right.
But where does that ash go after? Goes to a landfill. So there's always gonna be a landfill somewhere, shape or form. Granted, with the, with ash, obviously it's more condensed and takes up less. But I argue the other point is your trash, and thank you, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank you for your trash, because it actually produces methane, and we pipe it down to UNH.
Yeah.
So it's a great, it's a win-win. So
Yeah.
basically, even the stuff you are throwing away is being recycled in the form of methane. Some of the purification's done there on site, and then the rest of it's done at their cogen plant right on the Durham campus. So it's a neat project. Anyone ever wants to, and in the public, just, you know, feel free to reach out to me. I can set up a tour. I would recommend probably late spring, early summer, where I could probably get you up on the active landfill.
Wow.
So you can actually take a look at the operation, take it to the backside, see the gas extraction, where we start the process for UNH, our recycling center. It's kind of, it's a very neat operation.
All right, first Tammy and then Joanne.
You guys want us to change from Tuesday to Friday, but what can you do to benefit us if we change?
Well, we have, right? I mentioned it before. I mean, we partnered with the town for many years, and we gave the town $2,000 a few years back, and now we're coming to you asking for some help.
So the reason why you have to change is because you say you don't have enough workers?
No, we have an imbalance of work schedule, so I have more work scheduled on Tuesday than I have people, and on Friday I have not enough work for a third of my people.
Okay, so if you have more work on Tuesday for your people, why don't you just hire more people?
Because then what do I do with them on Friday? I already don't have work for 30% of them now.
I don't know.
It's easy just to move, level the load, which is
Easy
what we're
for you
doing.
guys, right?
Well, it's no
What
change to
change?
you.
Your garbage will still be picked up
I don't
once a
care
week.
what day it gets picked up.
It's only 2 days after, I think.
But I
Doesn't
mean,
make a difference
it's a
to me.
concern, and it is a change. People are used to it, I get it.
All right, Joanne?
One thing that will help Middleton's bottom line as far as the amount of trash that's picked up would be a little bit of thrift on our parts. Reuse your plastic water bottles instead of buying more, buy a jug of water and refill the smaller bottles. Your trash bags, use your recycled cloth bags to go get your groceries. Right now, I think a couple of the stores are not actually even giving you plastic bags, so if you want to go shopping there, you take your own bags. It's a situation that's not going to get any better over time, but we can do something for each household. We can compost if at all possible. There are things that you can do to reduce the amount that you put out on the curbside. It just takes a little extra effort. Soda cans for the scouts over by the town highway barn.
Yes.
And I was gonna say, along those lines, there is that, I think it's Michaela's group, the Reduce, Reuse, Recycle group on Facebook, that a lot of the Reddit sites have joined. And what we've started doing on there is, it's not just sharing ideas for reducing, but it's also for people who are looking to get rid of things for free. Like, I've set up a couple of things. We got a girl over on Dudley. She comes and picks up my soda bottles and juice bottles because she uses them in her garden. And this one there, and I don't have to do anything. She tells me what day she's coming. I put them out on my porch. Tiffany shows up. They're great, you know. And that's a lot of plastic that I'd be throwing out because I have 5 people in my house.
What's the website?
It's on Facebook. It's Reduce, Reuse, Recycle. If you just search it.
I'll add you to it.
On Facebook.
All right. You gentlemen, any other thoughts? Okay. Any other comments? Okay. When did this take effect?
Work with you guys.
Yeah, we wouldn't, like, it wouldn't be this week, we would, you know.
Let's do Memorial Day weekend.
We want to implement probably sometime this month, and I would recommend, this, obviously tomorrow's pickup, and next week the same, maybe the week after, and when we do it that first week, because we're gonna pick up both, probably gonna be there Tuesday and Friday. Then the following week, it'll just be that Friday, and you'll get a handful of calls, hey, they missed us. You know, and those are people that probably don't go on social media or any of that, don't look on the web. So there'll be a handful that may miss, but 1 call, 2 calls, and they, oh shoot, yeah, you're right, my date did change. They'll get it, and it'll be a quick adjustment.
When is bulk pickup? It's gonna be coming up.
May.
So that's good.
Joanne?
We do.
Yes.
I think back when we were doing the school, Tony and I did a mailing to the town on postcards. I think that only cost about $300. Maybe Waste Management could help us with that. You put it in an envelope and people are going to look at it and say it's not a bill, they're just trash and throw it out. But a postcard, they're likely to read, especially if you use something bright, bright colored.
Would that be agreeable?
I probably can swing that, I'll get with Steve. Yeah.
For either Laura or Kathleen, or anybody that knows, can we generate a mailing list?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To be, put it, either write it on a postcard or put stickers, address labels on it?
Yeah, I use that for all. Yep.
So it's doable.
So will
Okay.
bulk day be on the Friday as well, then? Will it change?
Depends when we make the change. So right now it's still
Okay.
scheduled on Tuesday at the same time
Okay,
as
yeah,
trash.
Yeah, when we make the change, it will be on your,
Okay, so I would just make sure if you're gonna put the postcard out there, put that on there because.
everything will change.
Alright, Joanne, last comment. then we
I
need to
would like to ask Waste Management to give us a little more than a couple of weeks, give us a month or so, because when we tried this with the recycling, it took you a while to generate the postcard, it took a while for the information to get out. So if there's any possibility of you not being able to get that postcard out in time, please hold off on the change of the scheduling.
The downside,
right here.
the downside if you go too far out in advance, it confuses people even more versus you just don't want to flip the switch and say, oh yeah, hey, starting next week. That doesn't work either.
The first Tuesday in May will be the 7th, and the following Friday will be the 10th. But the first Friday in May is the 3rd.
I think we ought to go for the third.
The 3rd, okay.
So
our bulk will not
I
be
would
the
start
7th.
putting it out there.
Correct.
It will be the 10th.
And then on the May 3rd, which is the following Friday, will be the first Friday pickup, if that's what you guys choose to do.
Typically what we find too, as Chris said, we don't, if I get everything in order, just a quick postcard out to everyone, some will get it, some will just throw it away. I would recommend putting it on your Facebook page, your web page, on your
Put it on
little
the sign
bulletin board,
over
yeah.
here,
But I typically try to get it out 2 weeks before, so.
Can that be done, Laura? For May 3rd, can we get it out?
Yeah.
Today's,
We would have to send them out 2 weeks before the week of the 15th.
That week.
All you gotta do is get your mailing list, right, on stickers. We can do that. We can send them to you.
Yeah. I don't know if let me see what I need, cause I'm probably I'll go with my corporate marketing, I guess, get in-house and.
And see if you just do a resident thing and everybody gets one.
Resident, yeah. My only concern, I'll think this through and I'll call you on it, but I just think if it's an out-of-state that has a property and that postcard goes to Massachusetts, Connecticut, wherever, and not to the resident, that may happen. You may get those 1 or 2.
Laura, are you thinking they prepare the postcard, deliver them here, and you mail them? Or are you thinking it's quicker for us to make up the postcards, mail them out, and send them a bill?
I'll get with you in the next day or two, Laura. And
You'll
I'll work out the bugs. I think we would do the whole thing, and it'll just be a postcard thing, send it out. A good color, something that, ooh,
Bright.
yeah, something bright.
Green.
Green.
Green, bright green, lime green.
Lime green.
So let me get the date straight. So you're gonna pick up the 3rd for the first one. Are you still gonna do that Tuesday, which is the 30th?
The 30th, yes.
The 30th and the, okay.
And then
Okay.
after
And then
the,
the third.
yeah, that week will be
The
full.
Lots of trash.
And then the week of the 10th,
will be bulk day and our trash day on a
Yeah.
Friday. Okay.
The good thing is because it's advancing later in the week, if somebody doesn't get the word, their stuff will, in theory, already be out, so it would just be out for an extra couple of days.
So they'll call them.
On that postcard, should it be recommended to have a receptacle?
Yeah, that would.
Okay.
If there
So
is
it's
a
a
vote,
good
I
idea.
have to push it. You can sort of
I mean.
I'll see what we can put on there.
recommend it
I don't wanna put too
receptacle.
much, you know, I wanna get our message out, but I'll see what I can put on there, and if I get something from my corporate back, I'll send it to you, and you can share with the board.
Yeah, okay. Laura, you're agreeable to all this? All right.
Picture of a
Okay,
receptacle.
have we discussed it enough? Everybody's all right? Good, okay? All right, motion to accept the new pickup date effective May 3rd. All right, yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You got it.
Abstain.
Yes, there you go.
I'm not for it nor against
Yeah.
it, so
Okay.
I'll be honest.
It'll hopefully be very seamless, we'll look
I
into
hope
those
so.
issues, and,
You know,
Get some work ahead of you.
I have,
It's gotta be
I
something.
know, I can't hide.
this really isn't for you, but stay for a moment, just, you know. I have to ask, okay? Because Tammy's sitting there. Who put the trash out that day? Was it you or Tammy?
Down on
Yeah.
the. I don't.
Oh, okay. So make sure you're
Tammy doesn't put out the trash, I'll let you know right now. I'm not
Neither does
allowed.
Mary.
So doesn't let me. No, seriously, he doesn't let me.
All right.
It's not my job, but I do
Well,
it.
thank you all for having
I do it.
worthwhile conversation about this. It's
Can you
an
check on those for us, to make sure that doesn't occur? If I need-
interesting topic.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
need to set the calendar.
moving on, please. I believe Janet Taylor, you're on.
Good seeing you. Sandy, how's it
Yes,
going?
I will.
And let me finish before you guys interrupt me.
Thank you.
I'd like to get it out. I've got a problem with the last election. In that, I had a question with the ballot question, a problem with the ballot question that I felt should have been on the warrant. Talking to the Secretary of State's office, he said that if the town adopted an official ballot, that question would go on the ballot. To answer Laura's comment from last week to me, because I want to get to that before I go on, DRA would have nothing to say about that. Anything that's ballot related does not go to DRA. Anyway, when I talked to Dave Scanlon, he said that if we had adopted the ballot way of voting, it would go on the ballot. Did we ever adopt the ballot vote? Did we ever adopt an official ballot? I went back from somebody had the books from 1950 forward, and we found that in 1976 was the first time that our town officials were elected by ballot. Prior to that, they had always been elected at town meeting. So I looked for the question from 70 to 76, question never appeared on the town warrants. I don't have the minutes, they're on microfilm, I can't take them out of this office. I know Farmington Library, Dover Library, and the Secretary of State's office all have microfilm machines. So Dave Scanlon said to ask the question, under what authority was the ballot created in this town? That's number one. Number two, when it came to separating the town clerk and tax collector, how could you even have combined an elected position and an appointed position? And from everything I've learned, tax collector was appointed. You first have to put that question out to the public to make it go from appointed to elected. You can't combine two different positions like that. So I can't find anything on it. I've given this information to Dave Scanlon's office at the Secretary of State, and now it's on you guys to try to find the answers. I have none. The question isn't there to even have adopted the official town ballot. So, and I went from 70 to 76, and there's no question there. So if it was ever even discussed, it's got to be in the minutes, and they're on microfilm.
Okay.
And this has cost somebody their job. And that's my concern. So if we've been voting by ballot all these years, they've all been invalid. I don't want to invalidate who got elected to office. That's not my concern. My concern is that this now costs somebody their job. So.
Okay. Thank you.
So my question is, when Veronica came in 2001, her purpose for running for that position was to combine the positions.
Town clerk, tax collector.
Yes. So how did she combine the positions?
You say Veronica had come back in 2001 for the purpose of getting which job? If they were combined, she was going for town clerk and tax collector.
Her idea was to save the town money by combining the positions.
She was town clerk, Joe.
Okay, that's what I want. She was town clerk
She was
only.
town clerk
Okay,
only.
that's what I wanted to know.
Right.
They did it by ballot.
Right, they did it by ballot. But the thing was, one, did we have the...
Hold on, please. Finish. Are you done?
When she combined the positions, did she do any research on it to find out, is this the proper way to combine them?
I was told by legal that if it's an elected official, it has to be on the ballot.
Okay.
You cannot do that by a warrant article.
Right.
An elected official.
Okay, so when she ran, when Star
When
Snyder
she
was
did
here.
it, because town clerk has to be elected.
Right.
If you combine them, they're now an elected official.
Right.
So it has to be on the ballot.
Right.
So when we go to separate them, it has to be done by ballot again.
Right.
Because it was done by ballot to begin with.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
You mean separating the job, it has to be
Correct.
right.
Done on a ballot.
Okay.
Because it's not monetary and it's an
So now it just boils down to when do we adopt the ballot?
Hold on, one at a time here. I think Roxanne, you're next, and then Janet.
So my question was, if it was combined, and now if you wanna take it, because you're taking the tax collector out of the town clerk, it has to go on the ballot because it was combined on the ballot.
Correct.
And the tax.
And the town clerk
Town
is
clerk is
elected.
elected, right, and so now you're taking position.
Yes.
Alright, I just wanna make sure that's what
All
my
right.
question was.
In theory, Roxanne's correct. You have to reverse it the same way.
Right.
But when it was originally combined in 2001, you cannot combine an appointed position with an elected position. The appointed position should have been on the town warrant to go before the people to create that as an elected position. That was never there. So the original combining of it in 2001 wasn't legal either.
Wasn't legal either.
Yeah.
And that was my point.
Joanne?
Well, it sounds like we can discuss this for a long time tonight without coming to any conclusions.
Right.
It sounds like Laura and the selectmen are gonna have to do some research and find out what happened,
Right.
whether it was right, and if it was not right, how to correct it.
That's right. And that's exactly what the Secretary of State's office said.
Okay. All right.
Basically, end of discussion, let them research it.
Yeah.
But it has to be done within a reasonable amount of time under 91A, and that doesn't mean 5 days. That means a reasonable amount of time, given that everything's on microfilm.
I've been wrong since 2001, I think we got a few days to know.
Well, no, she's saying that the ballot, we should be voting by ballot, which is from the 70s. That's what she wants you to find out.
That's the
When
first
was the-
thing.
Right.
And and the minutes from there are all, from 70 to 76 anyway, are all on microfilm.
Yeah, I get that.
I can't take that out of this office.
No, but voting was bound ballot for the,
Anything,
oh,
just voting by ballot,
Oh, okay.
period.
Right.
oh, okay.
So, SB two.
Yeah, no.
It's not SB
We're
two
not.
No, it's being,
that we would have adopted ballot.
Okay.
And other people
it's
talking.
elected versus appointed.
Right.
No.
That's the.
Yep.
Do we have a fiche machine here?
No.
No.
If I take it to work, we got fiche machines here.
No, all the stuff upstairs we got, that's not part of it.
No, and don't confuse it, it's not elected versus appointed. It's first, did the people adopt an official town ballot? That's number one.
Okay.
Then if we did, number two, you've got to go back, and the only way you can correct the tax collector's position is to bring it to the people and say, do you want this to continue as appointed, or do you want to make it elected? Then if you want to combine them or uncombine them, then you can do it. So there's two issues here.
So it makes me have a whole different question.
For future,
I have a whole totally different question then.
let's finish this
Okay,
one
alright,
first,
thanks.
all right?
Yes.
Other new business.
So my question would be is, if we have some type of media that we have historical documents on, shouldn't we have something to be able to read that historical document if it can't leave the building?
Thank you, Roxanne.
I just asking,
I
I
haven't
don't-
seen them, I don't even know what they're on.
So,
I couldn't tell you.
It's microphone.
I would have-
That's the only ones we can find down there is those little.
Can't believe there's no
camera
hard copy.
So basically, I would have to
Wow.
assume if the stuff, the technology is still available at other places, it has to be somebody like a selectman who has to go and do
Yep.
that.
Right.
Because we're basically, no one probably can leave the building with it,
Right.
so.
No, I get that, no, I get that, but I mean, I'm just thinking in today's day and age, and I don't necessarily know how this would work, and maybe it wouldn't, maybe it doesn't pertain to it, but I mean, you know, with everybody doing genealogy, I know, like I sat up here and went through some books, cause I was looking for, I needed to find, and I did find it in the book, but I don't, because if you have, yes, if you have a town record, and it's in fiche, it says the date, you know, the town recorded a date of a birth or a death or something like that, that can be used as a, so that's just my,
And by all means, there might be handwritten minutes down there, but we looked, me and Janelle looked everywhere.
no, I'm just curious, so I mean,
So,
it's
I would think that
I
if this
Yeah.
stuff is on what was it, microfilm?
Microfilm.
Yeah,
Microfiche.
There should be some way of
Yeah.
taking microfilm and putting it on some kind of other media.
Once you take it
or
to, once you
use.
take it and use the microfilm machine, you can make copies from that right there.
Did you find the 1800 ones that Jack goes down there and
But I
reads
know-
every time he goes
No,
down
I know
there?
that Farmington has,
Hold on,
Farmington
please.
Library.
Hold on, do you have a question?
Well, I was just gonna say, she said you can make copies of it, but maybe then it would be worth looking into seeing about a conversion, just because of the fact that we've all seen zip drives, floppy disk, hard drives, zip disks, CDs, even flash drives now are all going out. And eventually you can't buy those to be able to go back and
Right.
read the old material. So it's either
So
convert it
I
while
would
you
think
can
that if we
or
could take
lose
the,
it.
if we could take that, make a copy, put it to the cloud. So that's the technology, that we go into the cloud
Right.
and leave the microfilm or a flash drive or something like that as a backup.
Right.
So,
I'll have more time tomorrow, so I can go
Yeah,
down there
fine.
to make sure there's no minutes, like handwritten minutes, because she's right, there's 1,800 birth certificates and death certificates and tax liens and tax levies and.
Would you check to see if at least the very minimum you can get it on the 8-track?
There's supposed to be not only microfilm, but there should be written documents here, but I know that there was a flood downstairs and a lot of stuff got thrown away.
Okay. All right, Debbie.
I wanted to ask Kathy, did you look in the fireproof one in the corner? Okay, so you got the
Yeah,
keys for that.
yes, those, we
Right,
have,
so-
those are mostly like tax liens from the 70s.
Yeah, from,
I think this is
from way back.
a
Levies
topic
and-
for further discussion.
Okay.
oh yeah.
Okay? All right, other new business. Yes, sir.
Got a couple questions.
Yes.
I was looking over the personnel policy, the new one that just came out. So I don't know, is it possible to make any amendments to it? I was looking at like the longevity awards that's done every year. You know, like if you work for the town for so many years, you get an
Stipend.
award. Yeah. Now that's only for full-time people.
Yes.
What about like Laura Andrea Bowden that's been working for the town for about 25 years on a part-time basis. Is there a way to at least start the discussion on people that have worked part-time for the town to get something as well, just as a lesser amount? I mean, because there's 25 years she's dedicated to the town.
I think the place for that discussion would go with the Personnel Policy Committee.
Beautiful.
Of which there are representatives from the Highway Department, Fire Department, Police, this building, Selectmen. I think that would be the place to begin.
Absolutely, great. When's the next time that's?
I think you're on it.
Every 3 months,
Yeah.
so we just add one.
Okay, cool.
You did 2 months.
I got that.
Summertime.
We just had one yesterday, where were you?
All right,
Next Wednesday.
more items. Okay. When's Ice Out gonna be on Sunrise Lake?
May 10th.
August.
All right, Joanne,
So cold.
comment.
One more plug, if anybody hasn't heard yet about the scholarship committee, I've got a really fantastic candidate, more coming in, so talk to your kids about getting those applications in. Talk to your friends about donating. Thank you.
Does anyone, maybe Debbie, does anyone live within sight of Sunrise Lake? Seriously, I have a concern about Ice Out.
Okay.
Because the dasher boards
Oh.
are still in place. Dasher boards are the 2-foot boards held in place by pipes that allow the water level to go up in the summer by about 2 feet. In the fall, you lower the level, take out one of the dasher boards, so now when the water comes, it just runs on the cement. It doesn't build up on those dasher boards. With all the rain last fall, we never got to take one out. Now I'm worried that if we have ice out and the ice pushes against those dasher boards, we could have big problems. So if you happen to notice, particularly along the shore, because the ice won't move until it's free from the shore. If you happen to notice that the sections where the ice no longer touches the land, would you call?
Yeah, I can make a note, because I go down to the Sunrise Beach a lot with the kids, so. Like, we were just out walking on
No,
it.
John.
Right.
She should call Jerry. Or you.
If we know where Jerry is, you know,
Jerry's
you're right, but at least call somebody.
Alright.
Okay?
So when the ice starts to release from the
Yeah.
shoreline.
And I've been walking down there several times now, and nothing's going on.
Right.
But it will.
Yeah, because we just, last weekend, we were out walking out, I think, to the middle of the lake.
Right.
And there was a group of us and nothing.
Right.
So.
Janet?
First of all, just to update you on the EAP. Finally, they got it all finished and it will be coming out to us for the lake, for the village district. And say a few prayers because at this point, till those maps come to us, we have no insurance.
Right. And if those dasher boards give way, they're designed to give way. Water will go over it. Flood of 2006, 2007, we had several inches of water going over them. That's fine. My concern is a chunk of ice gets pushed against it.
Yeah.
And it might not go over, it might just keep pushing.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
And who should be concerned?
Everybody downstream.
Not me, not you. Hello, Farmington?
Absolutely.
You're about ready to have your roads cleaned.
Free of charge.
Yeah, it'll save them some
Courtesy of
street
Middleton.
sweeping.
All right, anything else to come before the erstwhile town of Middleton? Laura, nothing? Jim, we're good?
Good. Motion to adjourn at 7:49.
All in favor?
Me.
Aye. Thank you.
Everybody go home.